Email sound notification. Times 500 and counting. Urgent action needed to address dehumanization on campuses. CC, United States Representatives, Education, and Workforce Committee, Press, City Council, elected officials, Education Secretary, overly funded think tanks, etc., etc., etc. Dear Administrator, 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 and Administrator. We write today to implore you to take action against the rising tide of dehumanization on California University campuses, which is jeopardizing the freedom of speech for one specific group of students and their allies. We urge you to align your efforts with the U.S. empire and its appendages of support to ensure that university administrators reject all forms of dehumanization. Specifically, we call for the rejection of class credit for attending dehumanizing presentations, such as those scheduled this week at your institution featuring an expert who belongs to a group we dehumanize and an expert who shares our group's faith but does not share our dehumanization perspective. It is critical to recognize that dehumanization and all forms of hate and discrimination must be rejected. Using the definition of dehumanization that favors one group over the other, recognized by U.S. empire and other nations of its influence, outlines specific forms of dehumanization, including the criticism of imbalances of power that promote dehumanization of many except for the group we belong in. Advocating for the humanization of groups we don't acknowledge as humans has heightened hostility towards a group of students and their allies that support our dehumanization campaign. Advocating for the humanization of groups we don't acknowledge as human contributes to a dishonest discourse surrounding the ongoing genocide of people we don't acknowledge as humans, and their presence at California University campuses will likely amplify anti-dehumanization sentiment without offering any pro-dehumanization perspectives, which is critical for a balanced dialogue. A more constructive approach would be to invite voices who represent the diversity of our dehumanizing population and advocate for understanding and compassion toward our genocidal support of groups we don't acknowledge as human. Ultimately, peace between the dehumanized group and dehumanizers can only be achieved when both sides recognize each other's humanity, but really when the dehumanized group can no longer advocate for their humanity because our dehumanization campaign works. Your events should focus on fostering a diverse, equitable, and inclusive dialogue that encourages nonviolence and mutual respect. It is essential to acknowledge that our grief and tragedy are prioritized over any others, especially those we have been dehumanizing. We appreciate your attention to this urgent matter and look forward to your prompt action in reinstating a healthy learning environment for all California University campuses.